to another edition of the Front Row Roundtable Show presented by Ralph Ease. Thank you very much for being here. The old gang back together again. I'm Norm Waymer. This is Big John Milikowski. This is Mortgage Marty Bin. Hello, guys.
Glad to be here.
How's it going?
He saves all the everything for later. He's nice and calm at the start.
I like to get going slowly. I don't want to,
By the time we're done, he's throwing things. So.
I'm a little older now. I don't like to come out of the gates quite as fast. I like to loosen up a little bit, and then let's have at it.
All right, let's start off. I want to start off with the home run derby, because I think when it comes to all-star games, that night of the home run derby leaves everything else in the dust.
Absolutely.
But I mean, do we have to title it the Juice Ball Derby this year?
Let's not jump down the road.
Okay, I'm
Let's
sorry.
steer it back on the road.
Darn it! But I stayed on the road. I skipped ahead a little bit.
Take a look at your rundown sheet.
Well, if they're using juice balls for the regular, we'd think they'd be using ping pong ball or tennis balls for the home run derby or whatever.
The distances weren't.
Let's not go there yet, okay?
It was fun. It was fun to watch
because the Pro Bowl in the NFL, nobody cares. They've tried to tinker around with the hockey one. No, not even the slam dunk contest and that. Nobody cares about that anymore.
Because nobody does it.
Because the best players don't.
It's like the 11th guy on the bench.
I mean, and the other thing is, we've all seen all the dunks enough times now that, somebody's going to have to get really creative before I get off the chair and be like, wow.
Yeah.
I need to see some crazy stuff before I'm going to get excited.
I like the trampoline guy.
And the NBA All-Star game is, talk about no defense, it's 172 to 168 or some craziness.
Because I can't think of anything else other than the home run derby that people like so much when it comes to All-Star games.
No, and this year certainly took it to a whole different place.
And I think they've really, with the head-to-head, with the bracket challenge, I think it's really amped it up too, because these two guys are going head-to-head. It's not 8 guys hit and then we'll see who has the most afterwards. These two guys are going right against each other, and especially that semifinal. It went 2 overtimes and swing-offs, and that was amazing. With those two going swing for swing with each other.
Well, I was texting with somebody. I said, "You realize if this was a season, you just made yourself like $13 million on your arbitration deal by hitting tonight's home runs in a season."
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit more home runs in the home run derby than the Tigers have hit this year.
That says a lot about many things.
Yeah.
That was the best stat that I heard that night. So, but you could see how Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is likely going to become a superstar if he keeps the weight under control. You can tell that's going to be a struggle.
I was watching, and
he is just big all over.
Yeah.
Cecil and Prince came to mind.
Well, Miguel Cabrera too. But he's done it. He's done an all right job.
Yeah.
Won 3 straight batting titles. I think he's fine.
Yeah, he made a little money with that. With that frame, he's done okay for himself.
See, me, I like the futures game because I like to see the prospects coming up and the guys that you will end up seeing in a year or 2 or 3.
So the only unfair thing about the seedings is you can actually get wore out to where you just don't have enough left in the tank to win the dang thing because.
And that may have helped Pete Alonso, because he only had to hit 14 in the first round to beat Santana. He didn't have to hit as many in the second round. And you could
by
tell,
half.
Yeah, you could tell Guerrero was just gassed at the end.
That's the other thing that's cool is both Pete Alonso and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. rookies.
Right, and they put $1 million out there this year for him. Those guys are only going to make half that in the season for their regular salary.
Got the rookie contract of $555,000.
Yeah,
which is still a nice chunk of change. Don't get me wrong, but
compared to everybody else on that field,
you could basically triple it. By winning. So.
Yeah, if you win double that just in one night.
Just so we're clear, he's making half of what Bobby Bonilla made 2 weeks ago.
Right.
That's a segment all to its own.
Yeah.
Hey, Bobby Bonilla didn't force anybody to sign that contract.
No, the Mets only owned him $5.6 million. And instead, they paid him $1 million a year over 30 years. I don't.
Who was the Ponzi guy that the Mets were invested in? What's that guy?
Madoff.
Madoff, because the Mets were making like 10% return on their money because of a Madoff investment. So talk about two fails.
Yeah.
You invested in Madoff and Bonilla.
Yeah, and I mean, and $5.6 million
done.
turns into 30 years of $1.1 million a year. I don't know who the financial genius was who came up with that one for the
Bernie
Mets,
Madoff.
All right. The next topic before we ease into where Marty was trying to go. Justin Verlander talking about the baseball and basically how it's hopping like it hasn't before. And I remember a couple of years ago where he said at the All-Star break they changed the baseball.
Yes.
And I'm sorry.
Wasn't that right about the time that Major League Baseball bought Rawlings?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
And who do you believe? Justin Verlander or Rob Manfred?
Well,
Who said nothing's gone on with it?
Manfred's got reason to cover anything up, obviously.
His league owns the company that makes the balls. I mean, that just screams some sort of goofiness, doesn't it? Hey, we need ratings, so...
And it may not be the hardness of the ball, it could be the seams too.
Right.
You know, if the seams are lower, which I've heard some pitchers talk about that, the seams being lower, it's gonna change the game too. It's not gonna move as much.
And I heard an interview with John Smoltz this week, and he said the pitchers are the ones who know. I mean, you have that ball. You have that ball in your hand 150 times a game. You know if a ball feels different than a different ball.
I've been doing it for 20 years. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Smoltz said, when he was pitching, you could give him 10 different balls, and he could tell you what was different about each one of them, because they feel it.
Well, I mean, so anyone that I've ever known, pitchers and catchers, will go out and warm up, and they would look for the ball that moved the most and was the deadest, like the ball that just had the least life in it.
Right.
And you'd hand the umpire back the other two and hope that one didn't get hit out of play because you knew that one wasn't traveling as far as the rest or getting hit as hard. And oh, by the way, it moved better.
God, when I was in Little League, we'd have two baseballs for the whole game.
Nope.
And I would always pick the one that had the higher seams.
This is Norm's back in my day session.
No, I mean,
most Little
even
Leagues still
I could
do it
tell
that
the
way.
difference between the
You
baseballs.
didn't scuff them in Little League? Because everybody I knew.
I didn't know how to do that.
Well, they got scuffed by themselves because you only had two balls.
Oh, we always had you take a rivet in the bottom of your glove. I had heard that was done back in the day. I might not have, or may have known about that.
Is there anything that can't be solved out of all this if they just deaden the ball a little bit?
No.
Here's my thing. I don't care about the home runs. I hate the way the game's played right now. I hate the big swings all the time. I hate no small ball. I hate that half the league you can shift on and they still can't hit a ball the other way it's just, I'm sorry, it's like the pitching changes. It's boring.
Hang on to that as I was going in that direction. Here, let me just take the rundown sheet back too, because obviously it's not doing any good over there. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll talk about what he said when we get there. It's our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. Chill out today at Ralphie's with their frozen margaritas and daiquiris. And get half-priced wings after 9 p.m. 7 days a week. What goes great while watching baseball games on our many screens? The quarter-pound all-beef dog basket, served with a pop or draft. Daily for just $9.99. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
What can you expect from working with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation? Our branch manager, Marty Bin, can help you navigate through the loan process with the service and speed you deserve. Contact Marty today to get pre-qualified. Make your home buying dreams a reality. Call 419-481-8696 to speak with Marty Bin today.
Powerbomb Wrestling returns to Toledo coming up on Sunday, August the 18th. It's a summer stunner at St. Clemens Hall, 2990 Tremainsville. 4 title matches on the card, including Brandon Day defending the heavyweight title against sexy Sean Casey. And you can find everything you need to know, including tickets, at pbwexcitement.com. It's the Summer Stunner, Sunday, August the 18th, at Powerbomb Wrestling. right, welcome back for our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. Ralphie's my home away from home. And you can stop there anytime after 9 o'clock. Half-price appetizers, half-price 10-count wings. For when you've had that long day on the course in 100-degree heat, or so it feels with the heat index, then you could stop in nice, cool, air-conditioned Ralphie's afterwards.
A little toasty, yes.
I can't tell you how much I miss being in one of those enclosed tents that cut the wind off.
And on top of the asphalt, so he just...
I'm sorry, I don't miss that at all. I do not miss that at all.
I basically get an adult beverage and go shade to shade to shade to shade to shade to shade and following around for 18 holes.
All right. Now, where Marty was going before we went to break. Too many home runs. This is the Blade's been doing a series of stories about the state of different games, and David Briggs wrote a column that the headline, and the writers tend not to write the headlines. Sure, home runs are killing baseball, but Derby was a blast. Let's not go overboard here. It's not killing baseball. Just because baseball's been killed in Detroit because they can't win,
Or hit home runs.
It's not doing well other places.
So my thing on this is I don't care how many home runs fly out. I care that everyone's only swinging for that, and I care about the way the game. I'm going to go into dangerous territory. I think we all agree that baseball was beautiful because the little tiny things, one way or the other. The chess match was small. It wasn't just smash mouth power. Because I liken it to, I had this conversation about tennis back when, prior to Sampras, but Becker and those big hitters. There was a time, Ivan Lendl and Becker and those guys. There was a time when it was a baseline power game, and it wasn't fun. It was just guys just wailing away from the baseline and a forehand volley, and there were barely any rallies, and McEnroe and Connors run around and diving at balls and whatever. That was fun to watch. But when it got to be smash mouth tennis, I didn't like it anymore. And to me, baseball kind of mirrors what that is. It's just a power game, and the little nuances aren't as important anymore, and I hate that.
Well, and it used to be a game where anybody could play it. You had Freddie Patek at 5'4", and even now you got Jose Altuve, but he's become the power hitter. But you had your shortstops and second baseman didn't hit home runs. They were there to set the table for the other guys.
Everybody's got to understand when you do something, there's a reaction to it. Everything that you do, there's a consequence or a side reaction. Look at what they've done. They've shortened the fences. There is no foul territory anymore.
Correct.
Those two things,
because you're not playing in big old football stadiums with these giant spaces where balls that.
Yeah, those two things just in itself are going to cause more home runs, more offense anyway. Just that way. See, now with the shifts, since they're not hitting through the shifts, or around the shifts, I should say, they're going over the top of the shifts, is basically what they're doing. But Justin Verlander, one of the reasons he's all ticked off, he's leading the American League in homers allowed. And actually, he's more than half of the runs that he's allowed have come from homers. And
a large portion of them with no one on base, because he's attacking guys, and
Well, and 60% of the home runs that are hit anymore are solo home runs. Because there's nobody else on base in front of you because everybody else is swinging for the fences.
Well, the problem is, too, that there isn't a player anymore that can't hit a home run to the opposite field. And that didn't used to be like that. It was a big deal if somebody hit a home run to the opposite field. And usually it was a Frank Howard, Harmon Killebrew type of guy that was able to hit one the opposite way.
Right. Fastball away at the knees was a safe pitch ahead in the count. Right. And now it goes out the right center, and we all shrug our shoulders and think, no biggie.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the spray chart from the home run derby? It was fascinating. The ball went everywhere.
Now there's a whole bunch of things that you can possibly do to slow this down, but I still say it's dead. It's just dead in the ball a little bit. It's really all you got to do.
So it's like mush ball softball for old guys.
No, I'm not talking about making it a.
I know.
A rag wrapped in wrapped in tape. Not like the old days where they used to soak the ball in water, then put it in the freezer overnight. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking, because there's a lot of ideas out there how to make the game better. Dave Briggs wrote a column here in the Blade. Moving the mound back. I think you'll see more injuries if you try to move the mound back.
The Atlantic League is trying that right now, actually. I think they've moved it back already. But they played half the season at 60 foot 6 inches, and I think the second half at 65 feet. So I can just imagine pitchers trying to dial in a curveball with an extra 5 feet of distance. I don't know how that works.
Well, how does that? What I'm trying to figure out is what does that change?
Well, it gives the hitter more time to.
Right, I'm saying that's more offense.
Right.
I mean, to me, that's not what we need. Is the more nuance.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be that get off my lawn guy, but I enjoyed hit and runs, and whether you called it, and whether it was a suicide or a regular bunt, and whether it was a double steal, or right. I mean, when's the last time you saw a pitch out?
If you either
the mud hens a couple times.
If you either
but not much, right?
If you either deaden the ball or you make it a slightly heavier, you're going to curb that. Guys aren't going to hit 500-foot homers. Right. It's going to take some of that off of that. I think that's one of those is the easiest thing to do. If they decide they're going to do something, which I'm not sure they are.
I don't think so.
Well, because here's. There were a lot of conversations about this after that article came out, and one of the things that a bunch of people I know we talked about is, so the Tiger effect on golf happened, and what do they do to all the courses?
And they lengthen them all.
Which was the stupidest thing they could have done.
I understand, but that was one of their suggestions was we'll make the diamonds bigger again. And look, they did that to Comerica for a while, and then no one wanted to go play there because they couldn't smash the cover off the ball all the time. So
well, it's the same way in basketball. They tried raising the rims because everybody was dunking. And what they found out was the taller people had a bigger advantage.
Made it worse.
So, yeah, it made it worse. So you can't necessarily do that either.
Theory of unintended consequences.
The couple other things that were in Dave's column was the pitch clock, which I hate. I hate the pitch clock. All you got to do is make sure hitters don't step out of the box.
Don't give them time all the time.
Exactly.
It's not that big a deal. You get time for a reason.
Seeing the pitch clock every game at the Mud Hens, they don't enforce it.
Oh.
We've had maybe 6 or 7 calls all season. I mean, and not even one a game.
It's the guys stepping out of the box and calling time constantly. You should have maybe one time out at a bat.
And someone's going to have to explain this to me because, the other day I'm tuning into a game that I shouldn't have because it was, basically unwatchable. And I watched a pitcher throw over like 4 times to a guy who has like a quarter step lead off first. Like it's because he thinks he's supposed to. And the guy has stolen 1 base all year. And I'm thinking, I would, back when I coached all the time, if I would walk over there and go, if you throw over again, I'm going to throw out of the dugout and hit you with a ball. Like you throw over, I'm hitting you in the back with a ball. Why? Because he can't steal, and he certainly has given no evidence of that. So don't throw over there just because you think it's what you're supposed to do. Because it's also mindless because stealing's not like it used to be.
Right.
There's not much cat and mouse going on over there.
No, the Mud Hens have brought it back a lot this year, but they don't have any power.
Well, okay.
But they've got, I think, 5 guys who have 10 steals already. So,
But to me, that's enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely.
That cat and mouse game when there's actually a game as opposed to it's perfunctory. I can't stand when we just throw over because we should, and the guy doesn't get much of a lead anyways, and he's not leaning, and we still throw over. It's like, What do you had no, you just did it because somebody told you to throw over 3 times and then go to the plate? What?
Usually those are called by the manager.
We'll start firing managers because it's awful.
All right, since Marty's using 4-syllable words like perfunctory, we're going to take a time out and come back with more. It's Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. Chill out today at Ralphie's with their frozen margaritas and daiquiris. And get half-priced wings after 9 p.m. 7 days a week. What goes great while watching baseball games on our many screens? The quarter-pound all-beef dog basket, served with a pop or draft. Daily for just $9.99. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
What can you expect from working with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation? Our branch manager, Marty Bin, can help you navigate through the loan process with the service and speed you deserve. Contact Marty today to get pre-qualified. Make your home buying dreams a reality. Call 419-481-8696 to speak with Marty Bin today.
Powerbomb Wrestling returns to Toledo coming up on Sunday, August the 18th. It's a summer stunner at St. Clemens Hall, 2990 Tremainsville. 4 title matches on the card, including Brandon Day defending the heavyweight title against sexy Sean Casey. And you can find everything you need to know, including tickets, at pbwexcitement.com. It's the Summer Stunner, Sunday, August the 18th at Powerbomb Wrestling. And welcome back for our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. I'm Norm Wayman. This is Big John Milkowski. This is Marty Bin. The Toledo Blade kind of stirred this up about the state of sports. And from what I'm gathering, you guys tell me if I'm off on this. According to the articles, soccer's getting more popular and everything else isn't.
No, and
I would like you to actually find me evidence of that in any sort of economic model.
well, and Nick did point out there is more soccer on TV now than there ever has been.
There's more channels than there's ever been.
That's one reason.
There's more cricket than there's ever been.
Well,
There's more.
But I mean, on any
Whatever they flip the snowmobiles upside down than there's ever been.
More MMA.
There you go.
But the other thing that goes for
Is that
soccer,
a sport or an exhibition?
It's no defense, really. And if you can drink beer and smoke while you're doing it, it's not a sport. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The other thing that goes for soccer is that because it's in Europe, it's early Saturday mornings for us. It's not like they're pushing any other TV off of TV to show it. They would have been showing a rerun of the Tiger game or a rerun of last night's snowmobile competition or whatever. They're showing stuff at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning when they wouldn't have been showing anything useful anyway. But I mean, I've heard for 40 years that soccer is the new thing.
I go back to Pele. Pele was going to change the face of sports in America.
Right. And then in '94 when we hosted the Men's World Cup, and oh my God, here it comes, because 96,000 people went to the Rose Bowl to watch the final.
I'm going to nap while you guys keep talking about soccer.
The,
and I don't hate it. It's not exciting to me. I'm sorry. What's your statement on soccer? No. What is sports without entertainment?
Entertainment is soccer.
Yeah, sports without entertainment is soccer. Yes.
It's just my own personal opinion.
Well,
doesn't mean if you like soccer, fine.
I understand.
To each their own.
I try period. I've tried with people that know the game and start explaining the nuances, and I still find myself praying for commercials.
Now there is more youth soccer. I don't think anybody would
Well,
argue
right,
that.
and it's a great sport, and it's a great sport to get exercise, and it's a great sport for coordination.
Well, especially because you can start playing at 3 and 4 years old when you can't play football.
And you don't.
But that's bumblebee soccer.
You don't-
everybody
no,
just
but
follows
still.
the ball
You don't
around.
need a lot of expensive equipment either.
Right.
No, everybody brings a pair of
I think
shin
that's
guards
a big
and
deal.
you throw a ball out there.
And that's why countries like Brazil are so good at it, because they can't afford football equipment down there.
Football's the one that's got to watch out because the youth that is playing football is declining. And there was just an article, I think today, in the Blade, that was talking about Toledo Christian, who's going to play 8-on-8 because they only got like 15 kids that are coming out to play football. And that's happening.
Well, and the one thing that they pointed out in the article too is Toledo Christian offers so many other sports. They have a soccer team. They have a swim or golf team. They have cross country all during the fall, and so there's more for kids to do. I'm kind of familiar with the MAC, the Midwest Athletic Conference down Southern Ohio, St. Henry, Minster, Coldwater. Those teams are always really good. One of the things that they point to on why their football teams are so good all the time, because they don't offer soccer. I mean, if kids want to play a sport in the fall, you're going to play football. There is no other alternative. I mean, soccer, and especially now with all the parents that come in and, I don't want little Jimmy getting hurt, so you have him go play soccer instead of football.
That's why I wasn't allowed to play football when I was a kid. My parents wouldn't let me.
My mom didn't want me to play either.
So they're like, you're going to get one sport you pick. And it was baseball. So, because the argument was, Mom, we go down to the lot down in the corner, and we're playing without pads.
That's the exact conversation I had one day. I'm like, you realize we play tackle without pads, and that's why, John over there's got 2 teeth that need to be screwed back in because, well, that didn't work out so well when he got tackled on the sewer grate.
Yeah.
Although now I'm glad because it's tough enough walking upstairs as you get older anyway. So, especially if you're carrying a few extra.
Well, and it's strange to me because I think football is getting significantly safer, but the knee injuries are a whole different ballgame that you can't predict. And
before
my son suffered one and changed his whole career, but I think. I mean, you and I would agree the game has changed a ton in 10 years in terms of how you tackle, how it's played, whether you're like guys, and playing ball in the. I mean, we've talked about this before. I think it's not the same as it was, and over time, I think that will cure some of these other ills. But at the end of the day, it's still a violent sport.
I'll give you another reason. Millennials, just in general, are not as interested in sports, and now you have a lot of kids that are growing up with Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that don't carry any sports.
Well, so St. Francis had a young man who's going to, is it Siena? On an esports scholarship, one of the small schools in Michigan. So, talk about competition. He's going there on an esports scholarship.
You know why?
And I had to go, well, why? I didn't, and my kids were like, see, we told you. Zip it. Still zip it.
You know why they offer that? Because people will pay for it.
Yep.
Okay, well, there you go.
Do they care if you can get a job when you're done with that degree? No, they do not.
Yeah, but that's the amazing. I mean, there are arenas where people will actually pay money to go watch these guys play.
Oh, I know.
The professional video game guys will sell out Madison Square Garden to watch them play. I don't get it, but
there are whole arenas that pay people to watch NBA regular season basketball games. So what's the difference?
In soccer.
Continue on. It's the most agreement you're ever going to see on one segment.
Even hockey. I know it was a good year for hockey around here, but let's not forget Bowling Green High School didn't field a team because they didn't have enough players.
Hockey is the most expensive sport to play growing up.
Not to mention getting ice time, and you got to
be practicing at 5 o'clock in the morning or midnight. I mean, it's hockey.
Those kids are the most dedicated athletes, though. They are the most dedicated.
I have some really good friends who were hockey families forever. And I said, guys, it's not a hockey family. You people are in a cult. and I don't say that as a disrespect, but I mean, it's like a whole thing that they do all the time.
All right, I got to run.
Cult.
Marty, thank you. John, thank you. Saturday Night Live coming your way next. Powerbomb Wrestling at 2 a.m. You can't catch that, DVR it, or go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you get everything. Plus, if you'd like to sponsor any of these shows too, please get a hold of me through the website. It's at normwaver.com, and I never push it. All right, I'll see you next week. It's for our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's.